So now, before I get into some case law and some causes for invasion of privacy and false light, I just want to point out one thing that I almost forgot. Now, this is basically coming from Keep R. Kelly Down. Now, actually, when I first saw this section here, this comment, basically it was by Team Truth, and the name later changed to Keep R. Kelly Down. And as you all know who Team Truth name tag belongs to, so I'm not even going to get into that. And actually, is actually still here, Team Truth. But the actual post was actually Team Truth, but it looks like they forgot to take this part out, which basically says Team Truth. But anyway, and I don't get into attacking people on the internet. I try not to. I just say what I think is right and fair, and I just leave it alone, right? So bashing and attacking, and calling people like petty names and stuff. That's not really me, right? So but anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Team Truth goes on to read, "I'm here to debunk the narratives you will try to spin from this video alone. In order to visit someone's condo in the Trump Tower, the resident of the condo has to authorize the visitors at the front desk." And then they go on to say there weren't any break-ins and entering. There wasn't any breaking and entering, and there wasn't any trespassing, right? So I think what the person is trying to say is that everything was done legit and everything is above board. But the problem with this is that it's not. Is it just because someone authorized you to go in doesn't basically relieve the people who took this video of invasion of privacy and false light. So now that we have this out of the way, let's get into what invasion of privacy is and false light is. And again, at the end of this video, I'm going to post some links to other videos that I've made, which was about, I think, Tasha K and invasion of privacy and false light. Those videos will give you an in-depth understanding of what invasion of privacy and false light is. And here, I'm just going to skim over it, but you're going to get the point. So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and get into this. So let's look at invasion of privacy. One who gives publicity to a matter concerning the private life of another is subject to liability to the other for invasion of privacy if the matter publicized is of the kind that A, would be highly offensive to a reasonable person, and B, is not of legitimate concern to the public, right? So let's look at A, right? Highly offensive to a reasonable person. Would you be offended if someone came in and they took pictures of your bedroom, took pictures of your personal effects, took pictures of your living room, and then displayed all of this stuff out for the public to see? And not only did they display it, they also made these crazy comments like, "Oh, your house is nasty," knowing full well that you're in prison and you don't have the ability to go in to maintain the house. You're not even there, right? And knowing full well that you've been evicted from this place, would you be offended if someone came out and basically displayed you in false light, and they use your images of your bedroom, they use images of your living room, and then they took something that was on your mantelpiece or took a showcase item, which is the McDonald replica, the miniature McDonald's, and then they come out and say, "Oh, well, this is his dollhouse. He plays with it every day." Would that be offensive to you, right? And then you look at B, is not of legitimate concern to the public. Now, basically, everyone knows that this trial has been dragged out in the public, right? So, to a certain degree, people have a right to talk about certain aspects of this case, but there's certain things that's off limit, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. There's certain things that are off limits. There's no legitimacy in showing this man's bedroom. There's no legitimacy in showing this man's McDonald miniature replica. There is no legitimacy in showing this man's living room. In fact, there's no legitimacy in showing this man's apartment. They don't even make any allegations in the video that, hey, well, this is where he committed such and such crime, right? Or this item, this McDonald's replica is what he used to commit this crime. There's absolutely no form of legitimacy in this video whatsoever, right? You know, so uh, I believe that according to this case law, that they basically violated, or they're liable for invasion of privacy for sure. Leave your questions and comments below and let me know what you think. But let's just read on. I have some more case law on invasion of privacy. And it goes: one, an unreasonable intrusion upon the seclusion of another. And then two, an appropriation of another's name or likeness. And then three, public disclosure of private facts. And four, publicity which reasonably places another in false light before the public. So again, number one, intrusion, unreasonable intrusion upon the seclusion of another. Again, that was that man's home. Forget about the fact that he was evicted. And then referring back to the comments that were made in the video, oh, we were authorized to go up. Were you authorized to take pictures of his private residence? Right? Because being authorized to actually go into the residence and being authorized to basically take photos and basically document his personal effects, those are totally two different things, right? You know, so while it may have been a situation, and I'm not saying this is true, but perhaps it was a situation where Azriel Clary said, yeah, I forgot some things up in the Trump apartment. I need to go and get them, right? And then in the course of going to get them, they took these videos. That could have been a situation. I'm not sure that that was a situation. But what I'm trying to point out to you is that even though you may have been authorized to go back into the place after the eviction, you were not authorized to basically, at least I don't believe you were authorized to basically take photos and videos and basically put this man's private personal details out in the public, right? And then two, an appropriation of another's name or likeness. This is a no-brainer. Basically, you're talking about R. Kelly and you're basically showing his personal things in the public view. That's a no-brainer. And then number three, a public disclosure of private facts, right? That's a no-brainer. You're showing his personal private items that was in his bedrooms. You're showing his personal replica of the McDonald's with his image and his mom's image on the McDonald's. You're showing all his personal stuff, right? You know, so there's a violation there. That's a no-brainer. And then four, publicity which reasonably places another in false light before the public. You saw the comments. You're basically saying that he didn't keep. You're alluding that he didn't maintain his house, right? And then you're saying that he was some type of weirdo because he played with the dollhouse, which basically isn't really, I don't believe is the case. He's locked up, so he can't maintain, and he's going through this tumultuous period where he's paying all this type of money for legal fees and things of the nature, trying to maintain a Trump Towers, which he's been evicted of, is probably the least of his problems. And then you're making all these crazy accusations about this miniature McDonald's. Everybody and their mama has a mantelpiece with figurines on it. Are you to say that those people are weirdo too because they have Thanos on their mantelpiece, or they're a weirdo too because they have all these African sculptures on their mantelpiece that they pick up and play with every day? I mean, none of this stuff really makes sense. There's really no purpose of the video other than to disclose his personal private details and to try to use that to portray him in false light, which we're going to get into in a minute here, right? And then it goes on to say, one, an unauthorized intrusion or prying into the person's seclusion, his bedroom, his living room, so on and so forth. And then two, intrusion. The intrusion must be offensive or objectionable to a reasonable person. I don't think anybody on this earth is going to disagree with the fact that the showing of their bedroom is just crazy or unreasonable. Nobody's going to say it's okay for anybody to come in and show their bedroom, show their living room, and show the interior of their apartment. Now, again, the fact that R. Kelly was evicted from the apartment doesn't change anything. You still show, if you showed an empty apartment, right, without his things in it, then that probably would be okay. But the fact that he hasn't had the opportunity to remove his things from the apartment, and the fact that he couldn't remove his things from the apartment, is going to be something that everybody is going to see as just something unreasonable, right? Because you're going into the apartment and you're showing their place as they left it, right? So it's going to be unreasonable. I think the reason that they might get away with this is because he's so busy fighting, these other allegations, that he just doesn't have time to basically file a lawsuit against these people and basically sue them, right? That's the only way that they're probably going to get away with this, right? And then three, the matter upon which the intrusion occurs must be private. That's a no-brainer. It's his apartment. It's his private quarters, right? And the intrusion caused anguish and suffering. Of course, that's going to cause anguish and suffering. Let me come into your apartment, take pictures of your bedroom when you're not there and when it's not 100% made up, and then take pictures of stuff on your mantelpiece and make fun of you and call you some type of weirdo because you have, such and such on your mantelpiece, right? So all of this stuff is basically a no-brainer situation. It's a clear-cut case, in my opinion, of evasion of privacy. And then basically, false light, the case law on false light that I have basically says the purpose of underlining the fault light's cause of action is to define and protect an area in which every citizen must be protected and left alone, right? Yeah, R. Kelly is a public figure and he put himself out there as a public figure, but he's not authorizing you to go into his bedroom. He's not authorizing for you to come and look at the miniature McDonald's that's in his own apartment, right? Just because you're in the public, because you're a public figure, there's still limits, right? There's still limits as which people can basically invade your life, right? Unless the only exception it would be is if you did like a MTV Cribs and then you invited the public into your crib and said, and I don't know that he's not done that, right? So if he has done that, then maybe they can, get off on this or, get away with this. But unless he's invited someone to his crib through MTV Cribs and said, yeah, this is my bedroom, this is what it looks like, and this is my miniature McDonald's replica, so on and so forth, none of this is basically justified on the Savages' part, and they probably should be sued if they've actually done this. And again, we live in a world where anything on the internet can be spoofed. We live in a world where people can take your face and your image and put it on someone else. So I don't know that they've done this. I'm not even alleging that they've done this. I'm just saying in a fantasy hypothetical situation, they should be sued if they've actually done this. So that's it. Leave your questions, comments below. Do you think that R. Kelly's privacy was violated? Do you think this is a case for false light? Do you think they should be sued? Leave your questions, comments below, and please like, share, and subscribe.